A woman was just about to use the restroom on the train when she was shocked to discover that the carriage with the restroom had mysteriously disappeared. She hurried to report this to the train attendant. When the attendant saw that there was nothing behind them, she was so frightened that her face turned pale, but she still tried to maintain her composure and lied to the passengers, saying there was never a carriage at the back. However, as more and more people wanted to use the restroom, everyone gradually realized something was wrong. One passenger questioned the attendant about why she was lying, insisting that he clearly had two friends sitting in the last carriage, carriage number 5. Seeing that she could no longer hide the truth, the attendant had no choice but to tell everyone that carriage number 5 had suddenly malfunctioned and was left behind in the tunnel. She tried to reassure the passengers not to panic, saying she would report it immediately, and that once repairs were completed, the carriage would rejoin them. The attendant then went to inspect the cables and was shocked to find them overgrown with weeds and oozing a thick, unidentified liquid, as if they hadn't been cleaned in years. Just as he was feeling puzzled, he suddenly caught a faint glimpse of the missing passengers from carriage number 5 reflected in the glass, and all of them looked disturbingly strange and terrifying. A sudden sense of dread welled up inside him, so he hurried to report the incident to the conductor. The conductor was deeply shocked to see the missing carriage, because each carriage could only be detached after he manually entered a password, otherwise, no external force could possibly separate them. He checked the surveillance footage for carriage number 5 and discovered that the last time they passed through a tunnel, the footage had turned into a blur of pixels. It was clear that something must have happened to the carriage inside the tunnel. The conductor ordered the crew not to reveal the truth to the passengers under any circumstances, so as to avoid causing panic. At the same time, the train once again slowly entered a long tunnel. It was during this process that the passengers in carriage number 4 finally understood what had happened to carriage number 5. They could hear eerie screams and strange laughter coming from an unknown source. Then, a passenger was suddenly strangled by a mysterious force. The more he struggled, the tighter it became. Just as the passenger next to him tried to help, he too was suddenly gripped by an invisible force, unable to break free. More and more people in the carriage began to exhibit bizarre symptoms, and even as they were dying, they kept muttering incoherently.
With a mysterious look, someone said, "Why aren't you?"
A photographer hurriedly pulled out his camera to record the scene, but instead captured something truly horrifying. A ghostly figure covered in vines suddenly emerged above the carriage. A girl at the rear of carriage number 3 happened to witness the terrifying scene unfolding in carriage number 4, where all the passengers, under the control of the evil spirit, had their faces twisted in agony until they were tortured to death. Just a second before carriage number 4 exited the tunnel, it completely detached from the main train. The people in carriage number 3 heard the girl scream, still unaware of what had happened. Only the girl who had witnessed everything finally understood the truth behind the disappearance of the carriage. She deduced that every time the train passed through a tunnel, it would draw out the evil spirit, who would devour each passenger one by one until all the carriages were consumed.